and sometimes looks are deceiving. So because society does not want to deal with uncomfortable, sensitive issues and realities, because I feel like it is the reality of how people are living. Once somebody is murdered, like the incidence of the case that is going on right now in our country, where the husband murdered his wife. In fact, the wife died as a result of being beaten and having internal bleedings and being locked up in the house because the husband didn't want her to go to the hospital, because now he's going to create that image that he's an abuser. The woman couldn't talk to her family, and the family, after around 4 days, and the employees, they started going to the house. The man had locked her up. She couldn't come out until it was the last minute. She was critical, and when she arrived at the hospital, unfortunately, she was pronounced dead. But right now, you would hear that the woman was subjected to years of physical abuse. She was tortured, she was beaten, and it was like she was paralyzed. She couldn't leave. So we need to deal with this psychologically. What is wrong with a woman who is capable of taking care of herself and her children, not to leave an abusive relationship? Does she have some rejectment issues? Were there any childhood traumas? Why is she consenting to herself being subjected to such issues? Even in the workplace, there is a norm now that for you to be promoted, you have to give sexual favors. It is a norm. People to be hired, they have to give sexual favors. Why is that? Why is our women so vulnerable to just let crimes be perpetrated, and they feel helpless? Because 1 in 100 or 1 in 50 who would stand up for that will be a troublemaker. She's such a troublemaker. Who does she think she is? This man is a priest. This man is the head of this organization. How can she lie about such a thing? Is she tainting his reputation? So I think more dialogues about these issues and more encouragement that these issues are alive, they are happening, they are silenced, they are kept in secret, is not solving the issue. We need to address sexual harassment in the workplace, orientate it, teach people about enforcement procedures, and also say, we will believe you. We are going to believe your story until the perpetrator proves it otherwise. Because the courage that takes one to lay such a claim, it's very much. So we should always believe the victim over the perpetrator. So I think the remedies that we have, fortunately in our country, in Lesotho, the law is quite clear. We have a very good Sexual Offences Act. We have a Speedy Trial Act. We have a lot of legal instruments that talk about harassment in the workplace, issues of harassment in the home. But there's a misconnect. There's a gap between reporting and the final prosecution of such issues. And I think that is where we should bridge the gap. A woman needs to be protected. You cannot give a perpetrator of a domestic violence bail, because you are literally sending him back to the victim. And if it's a family offense, obviously you cannot allow that man to go back to the home and interfere with the state witness. Because if he gets back, we don't know the kind of intimidation they will do. And tomorrow you'll realize that the woman goes and withdraws the case and say, no, I have forgiven my husband. You don't know the kind of intimidation that she was subjected to. So we need to have, in cases like that, we need to remove the woman from the home, put her in a place where she can get psychologists, where she will be prepared for the case, where she will be, if she's unemployed, given empowerment, try to find out if all that she needs to survive is a job, get her a job, and assist her, hold her hand until the matter is finalized in the court of law. And also in the workplace, I think there should be a lot of orientation. I think from our human resources managers, they are the ones who are tasked with the taking care of the employees. We need to have channels in which we can have whistleblowing, we can have reporting anonymously, we can have protective measures that are put in place so that the harassment in the workplace cannot be perpetrated. I think this is my submission for today. Thank you very much. I'll welcome questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And first we have Ma'am Jonkar for the question, and then we move forward.
Hi, Noni. Thank you for your presentation. And it's not so much a question, but sort of a comment. In Ontario, if there is domestic violence in a home, it is the man that is removed, not the woman. Yeah, so that the disruption to the family and the home is not as hard. So yes, they're removed until further notice. So I just wanted to say, in that sense, that's a positive response to a negative situation. So.
Thank you about that.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And I have also, it's a question and a suggestion also from your side, that we are planning to establish one free legal cell for women. And we are in process to establish this legal cell, free legal cell for the women in the impact of this campaign, 16 Days of Activism, which is free everyone from violence and harassment, especially at the workplaces. So, so many people which are having the law background, and they are good in this specific subject or the sector. They all are trying to connect with each other, and they want to make a committee on this legal cell, and also going to pool the resources that like if you are having their own legal agency, and what exactly you can be pool over there for this. So because we need a helpline for this, we need experts over there which can be respond to these queries of the victims, of the people which are in the which needs support. So this is my question also, because you are also in this profession and having the Ajinva, kindly mute yourself, please. Thank you. So, so what kind of support you can provide, and what are your suggestions in this regard to establish such kind of facility, which is specifically in terms of the impact of this campaign? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will just need a bit of clarity on the issue of providing free legal services. Is this for our country? Like in my country, should I establish this, or I'm going to collaborate with already an established committee so that we can further our fight against gender-based violence?
Yes, ma'am, this is not specifically for only one country. we are talking about all these collaborative countries, especially which are regularly with us in the programs and, sharing their issues, gaps, resources, time, everything with us. So we are planning to take their women, take their victims to be connected with this. The host, kindly Laura, please mute the rest of the people. Especially this distortion is very disturbing when we are discussing such kind of serious issues. Ajunva, Ma'am Ajunva, kindly, you can mute yourself. So this is for the global requirement. So and the theme behind this establishment for this legal cell, that the women which are unable to reach such kind of facilities or support in their areas, they can be connect through this helpline. And initially, we are trying to establish the main station or main, you can say, the hub of this place in South Africa with the help of our members over there. And we are requesting to the rest of the companies, not only the law companies, other development funding organizations, and the people like you which are in this profession, to be part of this committee and to be part of this initiative to collaborate to ensure such kind of facility, for everyone, not only for the specific country.
No, now I understand. I would be honored to be part of the committee. So we will take it from there, what needs to be done.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. And I will share the concept note of this free legal cell, which we are going to announce this in the impact of end of this campaign on 10th of December. But all the committee members, I'm going to share with them the concept of this free legal cell with them. Thank you so much. Maria, it's over to you, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Nonne, for your presentation. Our next speaker is Loretta Okpeme from Nigeria, gender and peace advocate, and she works, for example, with environmental peace building, which I think is a very important issue also, and working with women and girls and children for promoting their rights. So thank you very much, Loretta, for joining, and welcome. Would you please like to unmute yourself and give your speech? Thank you.
Maria also announced to the host of this link to mute rest of the all people other than the speaker, please.
Yes, Laura, can you please unmute?
Okay, I'm here. I'm here now.
Yes,
good evening. Good evening. I'm speaking from Nigeria, and good morning and good afternoon to all other people listening in. I'm happy to be part of this program today. It's not been easy fighting with the network, but I hope that the network will permit me to just speak for a few minutes. Actually,
excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Kindly, every person mute yourself. If you can't mute yourself, you can leave the meeting, please. Joseph Ajunba, kindly mute yourself because we can't hear even a single word from our speaker. Yes, ma'am, please go ahead.
Okay, so the 16 days activism has been, I wouldn't say it's been, the issue around it has been overemphasized, because I know that the issue of sexual and gender-based violence cuts across all the world. It has been mapped out that these 16 days, we just use it to heighten and galvanize the voices of people, advocates and peace-building advocates, to ensure that we give more time to issues around sexual and gender-based violence. Somebody is interrupting this business news. I don't know.
Excuse
There's
me.
a voice coming on from the television. Is it from the television or from where? I can't even hear myself very well.
Maria, can you please make yourself a co-host from Laura and control these people, because I don't know why people are not understanding to mute themselves when someone is speaking on a very important topic. So no one is listening them. So
Okay, thank
Laura,
you,
kindly make Maria co-host to control all these distortion from the participants.
Yes, I think I'm not able to make myself co-host.
Laura can make you co-host, please.
Okay, thank you once again, everybody, for our patience. So I said that the issues around the 16 days activism is just to ensure that voices are galvanized, more action, not actions, more actions, because already actions are being taken. People are working in different quarters to ensure that, the sensitization continues and actions from responders who are responding to victims and survivors of sexual and gender violence victims and survivors, continues. This time is just for us all to understand that we need to put in more effort and commitment, not just lip service, not just advocacy, but responding to these issues is very important. And Noni has just also brought out another thing on the burner, that is sexual harassment in workplaces. I can't go into that. I can only say that a lot is being said about it. A lot has been said already. And the only way is just to continue to sensitize women, sensitize girls, sensitize our community people, so that they understand the importance of this pandemic that is quietly creeping in and taking over our lives, that nobody is safe anymore. It is a pandemic, and from the way it is creeping in from all corners. Now it is even siblings, people from boys and girls, of the same parents being harassed. Boys harassing their female, their sisters, and even sometimes the sisters harassing their brothers sexually. So, but at all times, the most endangered species has always remained the female species. So we have to, as parents, as sisters, as aunts, as uncles, look closely and be at alert at all times to watch what is happening around in our houses, in our workplaces, in our schools, in our environments, wherever we are. We need to be more conscious of the issues happening around us, of things happening around us. And we also must investigate all things to be sure that what we are saying is correct, because it will not be proper for you to bring out something, an issue, and at the end of the day, you are forced to retract your information. So we also have to be very sure of what we are saying. We understand that most times some of these abuses do not have evidence except for what the survivor is telling us. But from the stories the survivor tells, we can understand and be able to decide if actually what this person is saying is true or not. But we should not forget that for whatever reason anybody is bringing up any issue, that issue is very important to that person. We must listen. We must listen. First of all, we must give that person a listening ear. I'm trying to tilt more on the support that we have to give to survivors of sexual and gender-based violence, because 3/4 of the times they are not believed. And because they are not believed, others also will not have the courage to speak out. So we must first of all give listening ear to every report. Whether we believe it or not, first of all, we need to listen. After we have listened to this person give her report or what she said has happened to her, we can now sit down to analyze this report. Is it true? Can it be actually true that it happened? And we need to investigate. And by investigating, we need to look closely at the issues that the person raised. Looking closely is also inviting the person that is involved. Sometimes, if it is a sexually based violence, we may have to invite that person working closely with the security agencies, because sexual violence is not something that you can mediate on. No, it's not something you can mediate on. So you must work closely with the security agencies to invite the perpetrator to be questioned closely, to either confirm or disabuse the minds of people that it happened or may not have happened. We can also take out time to ask questions around the vicinity where the person, the perpetrator, is living and where the survivor is living, to establish the fact that yes, these two people has been seen together, or that this man is always like this. Because it's possible that that victim or that survivor may not have been his first victim. It could be that it's something that he has been doing every day and every other day, but other people or other survivors could not speak out until one person took it upon herself to speak out. So we must ask questions around. Then, after listening, you take action. After listening, you take action. And the first action we need to take with survivors is counseling. Make this person feel relaxed. Make this person feel that the world has not come to an end, that there is still love in the world, by calming the person's nerve. Speaking, we have to watch our words seriously around this person, because this person is under tension, and any little wrong word or negative word you say could trigger off another thing in that person. So we need to calm the person's nerves, speak with the person in very calm, quiet voices, make this person understand that the world is not the end, the world has not come to the end, and that this perpetrator can actually be arrested and brought to book. Ensure that you calm the survivor's nerves. After that, you counsel. After counseling, our counseling means talking to the person, giving also maybe instances about other people that have survived it and that she can actually survive it. Because this person's mental health also is very important in this matter, because it could also trigger off depression in this person that could lead to suicide, attempted even murder, because she may also want to take laws into her hands to, to take vengeance on the person that defiled her or that raped her. So it's important that you also counsel this person to understand that yes, this thing has happened, but there's a remedy. And the remedy is that counseling and continuous sessions with this person. Is not a one-time off thing. you also need to monitor this person closely to ensure that she does not go into anything that will be unbecoming, like trying to take her life. And if possible, direct this person to a psychologist, a clinical psychologist. If we as NGOs and CSOs cannot do the counseling, because some of us do not have the capacity to counsel, so you refer to another center where the person can be spoken to. And if the person was also raped, remember that within 3 days, most of the evidences of rape would have disappeared and treatment may be difficult. So the person has to be referred to a medical facility for this person to be closely examined, medically examined. And also, it will also help with the security agencies, because if you go to say I was raped or somebody was raped, they will ask you for medical reports. So it's important that we do that report within the first 3 days, so that also any STDs or pregnancies or HIV also could be treated, because within that period, that first 3 days, the person will be administered some drugs to ensure that he does not get any HIV or get pregnant or get any other STI, that's sexually transmitted diseases and infections. We cannot do everything on our own, so we must seek for collaboration of health facilities that are into this kind of work, so that any report we get, we send that person or you go with that person, referring that person to that facility so that they do the medical examinations and also obtain the reports. Because when you go to security agencies, you must present this report as one of your evidence. Then, after the counseling session, if you can't do the counseling yourself, refer the person to a clinical psychologist, and the clinical psychologist will also keep a report in case the security agencies need it. Just not every report that the psychologist will release, no. There's some little evidence to confirm that yes, it's possible this person has this trauma, and that we are going through with the counseling sessions to ensure that we normalize this person's mental health and her life. After that first counseling, the counseling continues, because we need to run the counseling for 6 months or 1 year for this person to normalize. It is not a one-off thing. And then when you had gone to the security agencies, please do not leave it in their hands, because once you leave it in their hands, they could treat it haphazardly. Like in my country, Nigeria, some of these matters are not treated very well. So you as the NGO or the CSO person that is reporting the matter to the police with the survivor must follow up with the security agencies to ensure that first, the perpetrator is arrested. And when the perpetrator is arrested and invited to police for questioning, the report is taken, his statement is taken, and the person is kept behind bars. And within 48 or 72 hours, the person is at least charged to court. Then you also need to get a lawyer for the victim or the survivor, because sometimes, most times, the person do not have the capacity or the capability to get a lawyer for himself, for herself. So you also assist. And for us, there are some lawyers and human rights lawyers that actually take up such pro bono cases. I also had when Mariam asked Noni about such issues. So we need more collaborations, not just only the lawyers, but we also need donor agencies that can also fund such pro bonos, because the pro bono, yes, the person can represent in court, but there are other little expenses that the person may not be able to absorb, which is why we also need collaboration from the donor agencies corporate organizations, private sectors, even individuals who feel aggrieved about what is happening can actually support with some kind of funding for the pro bono cases, because those lawyers cannot do it alone. And there are certain expenses also they run that they cannot absorb. Then we follow up with these people to ensure that the lawyers also represent well and be able to support the lawyer with information on the cases. And then I will move from the survivors now and the victims to go into the communities. For me, I feel that we need community sensitizations from the community chiefs, community leaders, opinion leaders, to the group leaders, different community-based organization leaders, and then the group sensitizations, town hall meetings, constant and regular town hall meetings, because there are so many laws, even in Nigeria, that support these sensitizations and support the rights of women. But how often do we step down these laws into the communities for people that need it to understand that they actually have laws that support them? We need to make our community people to understand that these laws are very important. And the lives of women and girls and children matters a lot. And that we all need to speak out. Because like Noni have also said, and other advocates has also said, sometimes the people that are perpetrators are high-placed people in the community and in the society. So to speak out against them is difficult. And even when you speak out, the possibility that you will not be believed is there, because this man is in the right standing in the community, in the eye of the community. Maybe he's a philanthropist somehow. Maybe he works with a high-placed organization, and that once in a while he attracts some kind of attention to the community. So how would you want the community chiefs and the whole entire community to believe that this man is a rapist, that this man is a wife batterer, or a murderer, or that this person has been abusing somebody sexually or psychologically or emotionally? It's difficult, because in the eye of the people, he's in the right standing. He could even be the chief of the community. He could be the boss in an office. He could be a head of a family. And this man is being seen as a straightforward person, and all of a sudden somebody is bringing up this kind of allegation against him. It will be difficult to be believed. That is why we need to do our own homework by investigating. How true is it? But we also know that so many girls are passing through hell in the hands of these upright men. Men we see that are upright. So many men, so many girls and women are passing through so many things in their hands. So we need to investigate. We need to invite them. Sometimes when you invite them as an NGO, they may not respond. That is why we need to work with the security agencies. These laws, like I said, are all over the world. Countries are coming up with laws. But at the end of the day, does these laws help us? No. Because individuals need to absorb these laws and make it work for them. It is only when they understand these laws that they can make it work for them. And that is when we can also work with the community chiefs and the community leaders to ensure that we domesticate these laws in our communities by having community laws and policies, reviewing the old ones, because there are the traditional beliefs and cultural beliefs that have worked over the years. So we need to work closely with the community leaders to see this pandemic for what it is and review the existing laws, domesticating the state, the national laws into the community laws. That way, the community will now be the surveillance and the watchdog over this kind of issues. Then we also need, for me, I believe also that we need a gender desk in those kind of, in all the communities, not those, in all the communities, community gender desk that take reports of people that come to report, the women and the girls that come to report. And those that will man this gender desk has to be trained properly, not to use conflict-sensitive words when these people come to report, because that is another thing that drives survivors away from reporting. When you go to report, somebody will say, hey, you didn't dress well, just like Noni said. We know you. You are the person that is always enticing these men. From what you wear, from the way you speak, from the way you walk, from what you say. So it's important that these people that will man this gender desk will be trained properly on conflict sensitivity languages and body language. And then we must also work with the community leaders, because right now we have been to so many communities, and these community leaders are calling us to please come back and train them properly on how to manage some of these cases, how to report them to security agencies, because there are so many issues that are coming to them that they do not know how to handle. Because sometimes also, some of the community laws they have, maybe the cultural beliefs and the traditional beliefs they had, didn't cover some of these issues we are raising up now. Like when somebody is sexually abused, how do they handle it? What do they do? Sometimes they may not even be able to do anything because they don't know what to do. So we need to go into these communities and train the community leaders, the community chiefs, the community traditional rulers and their cabinet to understand what they can do with this kind of cases when it comes to them. When wife battering, a spouse is abused by the husband or by the intimate partner, when they come to report, what do they do? How did they mediate on this kind of cases? We need to look at training them closely and very well to ensure that they have the capacity to mediate on some of these cases, especially when it is husband and wife or intimate partners abuses, depending on the kind of abuses, because there are some abuses you cannot mediate on. It must go to the security agencies so that the cases must be prosecuted. So we must draw lines between cases that can be mediated and the cases that cannot be mediated on. It is only when they understand where you're coming from that they will be able to understand it and also work with you. So it is important also that this sensitization goes beyond just the communities, and it is not a one-off time sensitization. It has to be a regular sensitization. We as advocates must, at every forum we find ourselves, anywhere we find ourselves, raise our voice. We cannot wait for only this kind of meeting we are having now, or when we have town hall meetings, or when we go to schools, or when we go to any kind of formal meeting. No, even informal meetings. When you meet with some of your women, your friends, and you're discussing, some of your friends may be passing through hell, but they don't know how to share it with you. But if you raise such issues with them, they may open up and tell you their story. But if we keep quiet and believe that all my friends are doing well in their homes, then you may never get to know what your friends are passing through. So we must look for all informal groups also to raise these issues so that more people will understand what they need to do when we have issues like sexually abuse or psychological abuse or financial abuse or emotional abuse or physical abuse or even public health abuse. Because some women are passing through hell, going through frequent STIs and STDs passed on to them from their intimate partners, either their husbands or their boyfriends. And every other day, some of them, when they have such STIs, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to manage it. So it's important also that we speak with them to understand that they can actually visit health facilities. They can actually speak out so that they could get remedies. They could get suggestions, advice on what to do. And we also need to communicate with parents. At every point we meet parents, we also as parents need to be up and doing. A lot of us see some of these things happen around us and we cannot do anything. Why? Why do we want to protect our family name when our children are suffering? When our husbands are abusing our children? When our fathers are sleeping with their daughters? When they are having sex and raping them every day? You keep quiet because you want to protect the family name. Is it better that you protect the family name and your children are passing through these lifelong traumas that are going to affect their lives for the rest of their lives? Some of them cannot have proper and adequate relationships with opposite sex because of what they have passed through in their family. Some of us keep quiet because it is my brother that is raping my daughter. It is my brother that is raping my granddaughter. It is my own father that is raping my own daughter. Then I will keep quiet. I want to keep it hush, hush, hush. And then I also need to talk about menstrual stigma and menstrual hygiene. A lot of us do not know that our girls, our women, even some of our friends do not know how to take proper care of themselves during their menstrual periods. And because they do not also know when they are menstruating, they hide themselves inside the house. Some of the girls will not go to school because they do not know how to manage themselves. And some of them are still using piece of cloth and rags to hold their flows.
Thank you very much, Loretta.
So sorry, I think I've taken more time than I deserve. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much for sharing your view, and you have given a lot of ideas on how to address this issue. So thank you very much. And also how to meet these women who have faced this difficult situation and how to talk with them. So it was very insightful speech you gave, and we thank you very much. And our next speaker today is Rose Mwandawiwo from Kenya. Thank you very much for joining and welcome.
Thank you very much, Maria, and greetings, everyone. I'm Rose Mwandawiwo from Kenya. I'll be sharing a short screen. Let me share. I hope you can see the screen. You can see the screen.
Yes,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
can see it.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, I'll be talking about free the world of work from violence and harassment. We are discussing about entitled tools and remedies. I'm Rose Mwadaviro from Mombasa, Kenya, a medical admin, a mental health champion, I'm a child safeguarding, women rights, counseling psychologist, and many others. Welcome all to today's session. We are talking about violence at workplace, which is actually our main topic for today. And also many other people have discussed on the same. We see that this is really touching on many of us, and it is actually a main thing which is happening within us. So for the sake of those new people who have just come, we have an LOO convention, number C-190, just for the short introduction of it. It is an international treaty to recognize the rights of everyone to a world of work free from violence and harassment, including gender-based violence and harassment. We have several forms of workplace harassment, and many of us have already mentioned them. Just to go through them briefly, we have the physical harassment, psychological harassment, sexual harassment, economical, emotional as well. And actually, none of these should be tolerated at all at our workplace. C-190 calls on government to make work safe for all. This can be achieved by recognizing a world of work free from unacceptable behaviors, practices, or threats. A brief introduction, eliminating the world of work from violence and harassment. The ILO is now embarking on a global campaign to build support for the C-190 and invite us all to get involved, especially in our countries globally, our constituents, stakeholders, civil society actors as well. The end goal is for the convention to be ratified and implemented by national governments and legislative assemblies around the world. So far, records have it that only 10 countries have signed and given formal consent to C-190 convention. We see then we are very much behind and we need to do more than that. As we continue discussing about this, how can we ensure good partnership is achieved to make C-190 a reality? Every country to register as members of ILO. That is one requirement which we need all to have, especially in our countries. Put all beneficiaries at the heart of any collaboration. Working in collaboration in ratifying C-190 is not easy, and it should only be embarked upon if it will lead to a better service for beneficiaries. If laws and policies have been put in place, then we must all adhere in genuineness and embrace them fully. We have agreed on a vision and put an appropriate structure around it. It is essential for each participant to be clear that they can sign up to the vision of the partnership. For partnership working to be effective, if it has to be much more than just a talking shop, because we can keep talking every time and we are doing very little on the implementation. So we need to act. We need to go into action. Individuals need to be clear about why they are coming together to implement C-190 and what would be the most appropriate structure to meet their needs. So actually, we are part of the individuals who are called upon to come together and discuss these issues. That's why we are here doing the campaigns for the 16 days of activism against harassment to women. Under that, we also have underpin the partnership with an agreement. We must underpin it. There has to be a commitment to build an effective steering groups. It requires people to formally sign up and own the process and partnership on behalf of their respective boards, staff, and beneficiaries as well. How will we ensure partnership to make C-19 a reality? I continue on this. We must agree on good guiding principles. There is some background noise. Apart from laid down principles by ILO, with our countries, it would be better to have extra good guiding principles, which include openness, transparency, sharing best practices, and commitment to high standards. Strong leadership is required to support people and bring them through the unease of changes, as usually the case of resistance. We all know that human beings, we are prone to resist change, and we must have some steering team to guide us through this. There is leadership is required, programs to be directed to employers, workers, and their organization, taking in consideration gender balance. When we talk about programs to employers and employees, we must be talking of including all the employees. We are looking at the female and the male as well. We should not say that this is just a topic for women, then we leave the men out. We'll not be doing the right thing. We must involve both genders. So, steering committee, programs to the employers and the employees is one of the ways we must team up as partners. We must come up together. When we talk of partners, we are talking about all of us. That's why we are actually from different countries. We are all partners here to this issue. Then we must have specialized support, which is very necessary. Awareness campaigns to continue globally as we are doing now, and more escalated within our countries, both to employees and to the public. Loretta has mentioned this, that we must go out to the community. Yes, the community needs to hear about this. The community needs to hear about their rights. The community needs to know what to do when they are violated. We cannot leave the community out. We must involve them in this campaign. Standard guiding procedures, rules, and regulations across the globe, and promoting social dialogue across the world, which we are actually doing right now. And thank you to the organizers, because we are already practicing what is entitled for us. Whistleblowers in our setups. For those who don't know whistleblowers is a weapon we can use to air our views as employees. And you air your views and it remains confidential. Nobody comes to mention who has said what, as long as it is a true offense which you need to address. So whistleblowers in our setups is a working tool. In some organizations, it's already there, and it can be implemented in many others. The whistleblowing to government authorities when a country is found misimplementing the laws and policies. It is also a good tool to work on. So what else can we do as we embark on these campaigns? We have the reporting desks. Like in Kenya, every police station, there is a GBV reporting desk. Every police station has that. In the hospitals, they also have ways and procedures on how to handle such kind of cases. So they have actually implemented some recording which can be easily followed, even if the evidence has been tampered with. The hospitals, you can go back to the hospitals and you can get the right information, because we have realized that sometimes who has been violated or the one who has been abused, the records can be misplaced, or due to this corruption issue, things can happen in between and you lose the correct records. So there is procedures which are in place to make sure that the right records can still be traced and can still be found. We have implementation tool online. This is just a suggestion. And this implementation tool is for timelines and follow-up on implementation of the C-190. This will act as a record tool for monitoring to access compliance. So if we are talking about every country having to implement and to ratify C-190, then this is where we go to. This is where we can use that tool to report our recording and to report where we are. Publishing organizations' contacts and email addresses. Since we have got several organizations handling GBV issues, we can have their contacts, we can have their email addresses, we can have the contact persons are published on the notice boards of all the organizations, of all workplaces. I'm sure when we start exposing such kind of things, the perpetrators will actually be ashamed knowing that anything can happen anytime. And when they see that things are being exposed genuinely and in the open, then they can be ashamed of themselves. So when we come together, we work together as a team, work together as partners, we can do things and we can actually implement things which are going to help combat this gender-based violence. Thank you for the opportunity to share. My presentation was short, and I'm glad that you are here to listen to my views on, and as we get more tools and remedies towards violence and harassment against women and children. Thank you very much and good evening all. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this very well prepared and clear presentation. Everyone who has questions, you are very welcome to write questions in the chat box, and we can let Rose answer to these questions after our next speaker. And we have, so once again, Rose, thank you. We have Precious Nyarambi with us also from South Africa. Thank you very much for joining and welcome. And would you please like to unmute yourself and give your speech? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Dr. Mariam Khan. I'm grateful for the opportunity to do my brief presentation.
Thank you so much for joining us from your busy schedule.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And just also to applaud the previous speaker. Thank you so much for presenting so well. I'm just going to touch on 4 things that I feel I can contribute towards what you've already laid as a foundation in other speakers that have spoken before me. So to ensure that there are partnerships for gender-based violence elimination, I think the focus should be on advocacy and policy. By this, I mean there should be laws that are developed, policies and plans, and also to promote enforcement. I find that sometimes people are not aware there's need for sensitization of what really it is. There are some communities, I'll give an example. In Zimbabwe, there's been lately issues where children below age, like 10 years old, or even 12, they are being impregnated by people that are close to them. Or for instance, in South African cases where there are children that are like 6-year-olds that are victims of rape abuse, and all sorts of those things. I think they need to be a more stringent approach to the perpetrators of the people that are breaking the rules in terms of GBV. So there's need also, I think, a continuous engagement or re-engagement around advocacy and policy formulation, so that I think over a period of time, we cannot have the same thing happening. I think there's need for, when policy is being developed, to make it a bit more stringent, for people to feel like if they do this, they can be punished more, that the consequences are more severe, so that the environment is not tolerant of this crime around women abuse and children. So I would really love to emphasize the need for us to actively engage on advocacy and policy formulations that protects the women, that also brings awareness or sensitization to the communities, because we are living in communities with the perpetrators. So the laws around it must be engaging and also evolving as well. Number two is capacity development. By this, touching on the issues of strengthening capacities of government and civil society partners in presentation and response. I think there's need for communities to be aware. I'll add on to that first part, that there's need for awareness. I mean, there are a lot of adverts that are run on our national TVs, for example, or radio programs that are run. I think there's need for us to engage a little bit more, to run adverts that are run on TV platforms, that brings awareness of this stigma, that brings awareness of what really is gender-based violence. Because I feel like sometimes some communities, it's not as common as we'd want it to be, because if it was common knowledge, we wouldn't also still be having such issues of people raping young children. So I feel like there's need for also a lot of awareness that is created through all media platforms. In as much as we see all the things that are trending on social media, I think awareness on gender-based violence is something that should be actively taken upon and worked around. Number three is knowledge management, that includes the conducting data collection and analysis. I'm also aware that there are some communities that there's gender-based violence, but we are not aware of it, because I think some areas, they could be remote areas that are not easily accessible, or collecting the data is not easily as easy as we would want it to be. So in actual sense, what I'm saying is that I think we have more data of issues that are not reported, that are not accounted for, and people that are not brought to book, and also people that might not be aware that what they are doing is wrong. I'll give an example of a South African incident where I know this man knew what he was doing when he was raping women and burying them in shallow graves and things like that. It's collection of data, because I think it was only after a number of killings that he was caught on act, that then he said that actually he had killed a lot of other women. So I know that the current data that we have around gender-based violence is not the only data that we have. So I also feel like maybe we need to engage more in getting to the grassroots level of gender-based violence, reaching out to communities. And sometimes it's not necessarily to the families or communities that are poor communities. We still find gender-based violence in communities that are also affluent, where would seem to think that there wouldn't be such a thing happening in a community, but it's happening actively on a day-to-day basis. And lastly, I would want to touch on service delivery. By this, I mean there should be support that is continuous to promote quality sexual and reproductive health services for victims and survivors of gender-based violence. You know, sometimes when I've heard a lot of people, when they report, or maybe when you have conversations with women of what happened to them, what transpired to them, some they complain that there's not been justice that prevailed. Number two, I think Madam Rosemary spoke into it, that the people can tamper around with the evidence that is presented, so that even when people go back to it, they can't find it. So I feel like even when people go and report to the police centers, it should be a priority. It shouldn't be something that is left hanging. And I feel like we need to put more effort when such cases are reported. They should be treated with urgency and importance, and pressure must be harnessed towards such cases that are reported, you know, so that there's a better action, there's better delivery. I think that we should also engage in terms of then advocacy and policy. We need to ensure that when such cases are reported, it mustn't take so long for a case to be dealt with that people eventually forget about it and won't even be able to account what happened to the perpetrators of gender-based violence. I think in a nutshell, I'll touch on those. I'll reiterate again the need for advocacy and policy. Number 2, capacity development. Number 3, knowledge management. Number 4, service delivery, which I feel can be delivered faster, quicker, and also a continuous sensitization of what really gender-based violence is, maximum use of, I think, of all the media channels that we have to make sure that the messages are being brought across of what it is really. Thank you so much, Dr. Mariam.
Thank you so much, Precious. First of all, I can understand nowadays you have also very busy in different your own meetings and sessions. Thank you so much. You joined us on our invitation, and also you know, you added so many important things which are attention you know, seeking as well for the higher authorities and government in terms of partnerships perspective as well. So thank you so much for joining us. And now I'm going to open the room for open discussion just for 10-15 minutes for all available members. And today's topic is the collaborative initiative regarding gender-based violence and regarding the legal frameworks, partnership with the government, partnership with the concerned stakeholders. So everyone is welcome one by one to add your 1-minute comment as regular we are doing. So these comments are also helpful for us to prepare the recommendation from this campaign. So for this, I'm going to first of all invite Abraham. Abraham, you have 1 minute to deliver your comments, please. Unmute yourself.
All right. I would like to say good evening to everyone.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My recommendation I would like to give is that while Madam Rose and Madam Precious was giving is that I would like for us, for the organization, which is the ILO, to carry on coordination with little corporation like grassroots organization to carry on our awareness. Yes, after the 10th of December. So such thing can help other countries to be member and to hear about our awareness, and it's going to be very, very helpful for us as a member of the ILO. So thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Now I'm going to invite Ma'am Ruth from Kenya. Ma'am Ruth, kindly unmute yourself and you can deliver your comments regarding collaborative initiative of this campaign.
Thank you, Dr. Miriam. I'm Ruth from Kenya. I hope you are hearing me.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm traveling. Yes. I'm in transit. But I want to say the discussion is very healthy. What I can add is maybe we can promote or capacity build leadership
Okay. So I think so she wants to
in our
convey that.
countries.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. So your suggestion is
For
in
them
today's
to be involved. The policy. Hello? I mean, policies that we have already discussed above should be made very simple, simple to everyone, simple to locals, simple to international, so that people can really adhere to them. Otherwise, I concur to every discussion that has been made today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Joseph, kindly unmute yourself, Joseph Kali, and deliver your comments if you want.
Yeah, good evening from Nigeria.
Good evening.
I want to believe everybody can hear what I'm saying. It's a wonderful talk. I've been listening. I think I joined when the first speaker started, the second speaker, the third, and then the fourth. I just want to quickly chip in something which I feel should also be taken into consideration. And that is the abuser, those who go about, abusing female child. What actually do we have in place to help such people? Because we can't be talking about helping those who have been abused, talking about sensitization, giving them the opportunity to speak out and that they will be helped. But what about the abuser? Is it not possible for us to also have an organization or a facility whereby it is made open for voluntary abusers to come out so that they too can be helped? Because if we say that rape or whatever abusing female child is a pandemic, I think those who also abuse this people too they're also having a pandemic which also has to be solved. So I feel that there should be a facility or an institution where abusers can also go for help, because they also need to be helped. For instance, if a father is abusing a child, what happens if the father is eventually, if it is reported, and the father is the breadwinner of the house? Who takes care of the child if the father is arrested or jailed? These are some of the things we need to put into consideration, so that is why you discover that some persons are not ready to come out to say, okay, this is what is happening, because they know the end results. And because they know that the end result will not be favorable, it is for them, they feel it is better for them to just allow the whole thing, they just keep the whole thing in the pot. So I feel that, one, there should be an institution whereby abusers can come out and then make it clear that they are abusers and that they also want to be helped. This will go a long way to help families to now say, okay, I think my child have this problem. I know this person has this problem, because they know now that there is an institution that is also ready to help this child and not to just condemn the child. I think that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And yeah. I think so this is quite worthwhile suggestions from your side. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to invite Rebecca from, forget the country, please. So Rebecca, kindly unmute yourself. Yes, from Uganda. Rebecca, kindly unmute yourself and deliver your comments, please. Okay. Ma'am Noni, do you want to add something, please, from your side?
I think what I would add is that more talks like this are necessary. I think there was a lady from South Africa who was talking about that we should continue the talks throughout the year over the radios, like we do advertisements and stuff like that. So I believe that indeed the relevant information that we have do not reach the people it is supposed to reach. I think there was another important point that was made by Rose, that issues like gender-based violence and sexual harassment should not be issues that should call us to mediate and resolve out of court. They are very serious issues. So I think that in many instances, in as much as we have the law in place, but the process or the manner upon which the law is applied is the one that has a bit of gaps. So we need to continue to sensitize everybody in our community on the best ways in which we can apply the law. So that is just what I wanted to contribute. Thank you so much. I do feel like all of the presenters were very eloquent and they did justice to this topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. And I'm going to invite Nusrat Bashir. Nusrat, kindly unmute yourself and deliver your comments. Okay, thank you. I think so she's not hearing us. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am, Rebecca. Yes, please, go ahead. Ma'am, we are hearing
Hello,
you.
good
Please
evening.
go ahead. Good evening.
Yeah, this is Rebecca from Uganda. I would like to thank all the people who prepare these meetings. We are really grateful. And I would also like to thank the previous speakers. Actually, they've been elaborative on these issues. What I want to add on is that, like the previous speaker said, in some countries, the highly profile people sometimes are not affected by the laws set by their countries. For example, in case somebody does something wrong to a young one, for example, those ones in high offices, to their secretaries, the secretaries feel shy to go out and say something about it because of the intimidation they are going to get back. More so, if, for example, it is a head teacher of a school, the filing may fear to even tell the parents. So I conclude by saying that when the governments are making laws, let those laws be for all, not for who these parents, and then they stay amicably. That is not good. We should fight against it so that everyone. Thank you very much, Madam.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And now I'm going to request Ma'am Nusrat, if you can hear us, you can unmute yourself and deliver your comments. Nusrat Bashir Zafar is from Pakistan, and she is working from so long for the Brooklyn's child education. All this community, and I think that she's the best advocate for the rights of Brooklyn children and their families. So Nusrat, if you can hear us, you can unmute yourself and deliver your comments. Okay, I'm going to invite Jamia from Kenya. Jamima, do you want to add something, please?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening. And
Hello.
My name is from Kenya. And thank you so much for that elaborative presentation that we had this evening. What I would like to add is that the issue of SGBV we have to accept, all of us, that it's there. And GBV, mostly when you dig it out, the root of it is because of poverty. So as much as we are thinking of creating awareness, enhancing the laws, we need to go to our communities and empower our girls and women, because most of the people are suffering because they don't have an income generating activity. So you find that that woman is really suffering there because she can't run away. She gets abused, but she's still there. You find a woman saying, I'm just in this marriage because of these children. I'm just here because of this and this. But once our women and girls are empowered, they're going to have a voice, because they're not only going to depend on men. And also we need to capacitate our young boys who are coming up, because if we are not going to take care of our boys, who will be the husband in future, this trend of GBV will continue. We need to mentor our children in a way that we take both genders. For example, globally right now, the girl child has been given a lot of opportunities. Everybody is talking about girl child. Where are we putting this boy child? Who will be the future husband? So we need to think of both the genders and capacitate them and empower them. Also, another thing, for example, can give in African culture, most of the people don't like talking about sex. We need to educate our children, to let them know and to understand the issues of SGBV at an early age, because you find that, so that they can be able at least to tell us if somebody touches your private part, if somebody insults you, so that they can open up with us as parents and come and report to us. So I think collaborative initiative is very, very important. And then another important thing is, which I always ask myself, we are the people who are advocating on the ground. We carry a lot of people's feelings. We carry a lot of people, when we cancel them, we carry their burdens. There should be like a place where these advocates should go and unwind. Because sometimes when you're dealing with the grassroots issues, they're very so touching. They are very, sometimes they make you so emotional. So sometimes as counselors, as community development workers, social workers, at least they also need somewhere they can go and unwind, as much as they're helping the other people. So I think basically economic empowerment is key, and this collaboration also make us and help us to understand the specific challenges each and every country or other community goes. Because like in Africa, we have different cultures. Maybe the challenges in Coast region are not the same as in a place like Turkana, if I mention like in my country.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
This collaborative
Tanya.
can bring us to understand more. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we definitely inviting you as a speaker also in upcoming days. But for now, thank you so much for your comments, because we have the 1 minute comment for each member. Thank you so much. So I'm going to invite Shanze. Shanze, do you want to add something, please? Kindly unmute yourself. Okay. Rose, do you want to add something, please, as a, regarding the collaborative initiative? Although you have delivered your presentation, but if you want to add comment in terms of a summary of today's session, so kindly unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you so much. Actually, so much has already been said. I think as we talk about it, we are getting more insights, and we are putting more into practice as we discuss. So I will leave it at this today until tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Ma'am Precious, do you want to add something, please? Actually, these are the one-liners from each participant, which can help us to generate a recommendation from this campaign and from these sessions. Now for I think so there is no any other person still. So I'm going to hand over to today's closing to the president of this campaign, Maria. Maria, it's over to you for the closings, please.
Yes, thank you all for today and for giving your very important and valuable inputs about what you are doing in your societies. And I salute you all for your efforts. And if it is someone who feels ready to make a more regular platform for this issue, even after this campaign, it would be great if you want to organize webinars even after, because of course it is not enough with these days. It is like many have said today that these women need help always, and we need to support them as much as we can. So if you want to do this, it would be great. And for example, create a WhatsApp group for only this issue. So I would like to thank you all once again, and we hope that you will join us for the rest of this campaign, and we continue tomorrow at the same time at 3 p.m. GMT. So once again, thank you and goodbye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Good night.
Goodbye.
Thanks.
Bye. Good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.